power do you have it set to right now?
1400.
1400. Full kill right now.
I don't turn this thing down, Sam.
What's up, guys? Back here with Pedro again.
What's up, my brother?
You guys know him as the Baltic Supra.
Baltic Supra, racing family, guys. You guys are all part of our racing family.
Yes, sir. And this is his 94 twin turbo Supra.
Yep,
that he's
94.
owned for a number of years now.
Almost 8 years, man. I bought this car stock, and little by little, never thought it would get this far, but
it's pretty amazing. Now
with the right shops
780s,
involved,
yeah.
I know. With the right shops involved and the right guidance and not giving up, this is the car that I've actually kept the longest. It's came a long way.
It's a really amazing story, and I'm definitely excited to dig deeper into the whole thing.
Sure thing.
Let's start off just with the engine bay setup here, and kind of walk me along through the current setup you have in it now, and then maybe tell me a little bit about the story along how it's progressed since how you bought it too.
Sure thing. I mean, let me start by saying this. I've enjoyed this car at every stage. When I first bought this car, I enjoyed the stock twins. I did just basic performance upgrades, right? BPUs, exhaust, and intercooler to the stock twins, went to the track. I believe it ran like 14s when I first bought it. Then with the BPUs, it went like a 13.0 at like 115, and that was a lot of fun for me. I had faster prior cars, but I just wanted to enjoy every stage of it. And I just kept pushing it and pushing it. Went single turbo, made like 550 horsepower. Then it got to like 823. Then it made 950, 1050, 1150. Currently makes north of 1350 wheel horsepower. But what we're looking at here now is a built 3.0 liter built by Real Street Performance.
And again, we're talking over how many years of building the car?
So it's been 8 years, man.
8 years of building the car.
Had I had the type of money it takes to build this from the get, I would have saved a lot of money just doing it once, just going straight for 1300 horsepower. And when I say that, I've had like 3 sets of injectors, I've had 2 intercoolers, I've had 4 turbos, I've had, because I couldn't afford this type of stuff from the beginning, so I just little by little built it for 500, built it for 8. But I'm actually glad I did it that way because I enjoyed it every step of the way.
I don't think you meet that many people, A, that keep a car that long, and B, that can say they've built it from a 14-second car up into running 780s right now.
Cut the time in half.
Yeah, literally. That is insane. So
yeah, man. And the beautiful thing is, you'll feel it for yourself in a minute. Although the car is significantly faster than what a stock Supra is, it still drives 100% like stock. I mean, it's nice and quiet inside the car. It's nice and tamed. I mean, I guess the fact that it's just a motor that makes a lot of power once it's full boost, once it's high RPM, if you keep it under 4,000, 5,000 RPMs, it's no different from your average Camry.
It's amazing. It's tip of the hat too to your guys at ATF Speed, right?
Yes, yes,
the trans.
So yeah, so those guys have really knocked it out of the park. I've been working with them for a couple of years now, and man, I personally never thought we would get it this far. And the scary part is the car's doing it so easy, and there's still a lot left in it. Every pass it goes faster and faster. There's no clutch slip. There hasn't been any drama. I still can't believe what we're doing with this car at this weight, 3,400 pounds. A Real Street Performance built 3.0 liter. Those guys at Real Street Performance have really over and over tested these motors and put them to the test, and I love what they've done with it.
They do a little bit of Supra work.
Yeah, right? They're known for Supra, just quite a bit.
Yeah, they drive them around a little bit.
So yeah, I just recently upgraded to the Induction Performance coil pack. I was having some popping issues on the previous coil pack that I was using at 1300 plus horsepower. Any less, 1100, 1200, I wasn't having an issue, but once we really leaned on the boost, we were having some ignition pop.
I've only heard good things about those coils. So.
Dude, amazing.
I'm
running a higher spark plug gap than I've done in the past. Yeah. The car idles better, revs better.
Did you always have to have really tight gaps all the time?
My spark plugs are almost touching previously. It was very close. So little by little, we're just finding setups that work. You'll see a lot of PHR stuff under the hood as well. Those guys have been amazing to the build. They're very knowledgeable. They do amazing custom pieces. Their fabrication skills are through the roof.
So really beautiful setup, man.
Thanks, man.
And the engine is just unbelievably beautiful here.
I try to keep it clean. I'm not a great mechanic by any means, but the simpler I can make this look, the easier it is for me to dig in there and work on stuff. So every time I take it apart, I try to remove unnecessary things that I'm not using, or just clean up the bay as much as possible. I recently had the whole engine bay painted to color match the outside of the car.
Nice.
And that's really making the engine pop as well.
Yeah.
So the other night at the drag strip, we got there, we were ready to go. I was convinced the car was tip-top shape. As soon as I get it off the trailer, there was an oil leak from the oil feed line. It takes oil to the turbo. So luckily, I'll show you guys in a minute, I have another Supra here at the house. I ran home, took his oil feed line. I live about 25 minutes from the track, so I freaking went back to the track, swapped it out, and was able to make some passes.
That's dedication right there, man. It's a nice little trek back and forth to the track from here.
Dude, that's not the half of it.
Yeah, that's 25 minutes at 100 miles an hour probably.
At Texas 2K, we actually hurt the diff, and somebody was actually nice enough to let us borrow a diff.
Wow.
So we had to drive like an hour to where the diff was, take it off of a car. It wasn't just laying there waiting for us. Take it off a car, run back to the track, put it on. But we drove like over 1,000 miles to get to the Texas event. Not racing was not an option.
Yeah,
and we broke on the very first pass. We didn't even make it to the 60 foot. So we borrowed that man's diff and ended up blowing his diff as well. But not till after we ran a personal best. It was all good.
Oh, that's amazing.
But man,
what a story, man. Let's fire it up, yeah?
Yeah, sure thing.
See what she sounds like. I bet your neighbors love you.
Now it's not too bad, but I've had some conflicts with the. So I use a shorty exhaust when I go drag racing. So it's like a little more than the downpipe. It's not the full exhaust. Now it's actually really quiet and tame. But on that shorty exhaust, it'll get really loud. And sometimes 3, 4 in the morning, I'm loading it on a trailer.
I know, man. I can imagine. There's just so much bass to that exhaust. Even with the
that's the problem. That's the problem. It's a straight 4-inch pipe with some muffler at the back.
Well, what we'll do is we'll go for a little cruise, and you can tell me a little more about the story behind.
I got something cool in store for you guys today.
Yeah, I want to hear. Let's check out the silver one inside.
12 seconds later.
Yep. So this is actually, I wanted to show you guys this car as well. This is my best friend's 1998 Quicksilver Supra. This is a really rare color to have.
Yep.
The very last year. So this car is truly something special.
Is it a 6-speed?
It is.
So it's a Quicksilver and it's a 6-speed.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. So that's really rare. The goal for this car is, I think he wants like 1,400 wheel. There's no reason why he won't do it. He's got a very similar setup to what I have. It's a Real Street built engine, head supported by Porting Solutions, just like mine is. Precision turbo. It's got great stuff. Pro EFI engine management. It's an awesome car. His goal is big power. Use it for roll racing, half-mile racing, and as well as quarter mile. But quarter mile in a 6-speed Supra can break a lot of shit.
You guys are about that life over here.
We like things pushed to the limit.
Who's building the car? Are you building it right here in your garage?
We're doing it ourselves. Yeah, my buddy Robert comes over and we're working on it little by little.
What?
Yeah, so it's a little dusty now because we recently brought it over here. Yeah. It was under a carport, but yeah, man,
wow.
Hypertune intake manifold. It's got 12 injectors, precision turbo. It's got the awesome PHR S45 manifold with the billet collector, EGTs per cylinder. I mean,
oh yeah, look at that.
That's the best of the best.
I don't know if you guys can see that in there. Really nice manifold.
So definitely keep your eyes out for this car. Should be on the road soon and cranked up.
Damn.
Yeah, man, this is the Limitless Supra. That's what he calls it. Limitless.
Certainly looks like it.
And it's got that TRC sticker in the front, baby.
I see that, repping.
Cars don't go fast unless you put that TRC sticker on there.
I mean, it's good for a couple horsepower depending on the application. Depends on your application. If it's NA, TT, you know.
It'll add more.
It's about 5 to 20.
We're currently doing a brake system upgrade as well.
Okay.
He's got some awesome Weld racing wheels that he recently received. So we're going to be putting this car on the Mickey Thompson Pro. It's going to be a 15-inch conversion. Okay. So whereas my car is a 17-inch wheel, on the manual cars it requires better traction. Yeah. The power just hits so strong, and the power delivery, I want to say, is just different from an auto car. So he's going to have the beadlock wheels on the 15-inch Mickey Thompson Pro.
Nice.
And
so when do you guys anticipate this being done?
Maybe like 3 months, 3-4 months. It'll be ready for the summer for sure.
Look out for it this summer, guys.
Yeah, good. Drives awesome. He's got AC, he's got a sound system, he's got navigation, Bluetooth, remote start. I've kept it how I bought it. All these features are actually installed in the car when I bought it, so I didn't have to do any of it. I just had to focus on performance, what I wanted to do.
What's the farthest you've ever driven this car?
So I've driven like a full tank of gas, maybe like 300 rounds.
With the Mickeys on it too?
Oh yeah, I don't take them off. I got one set of wheels.
So you ride these all 100% all the time? Yeah, man.
This car went 780s last week at the track, and these same tires went to Texas, Bradenton, has been to PBIR 3 times. Wow. I've made countless street pools. They've been on the dyno and they're still going. That's a new record.
Listen, I drive this car a lot. For real, yeah. What's amazing amazing to me is like we're cruising at very low RPMs at slow speed.
Oh yeah,
in a very high horsepower setup, and it's not lurching around, it's not jumping around.
No,
you're just driving it like you drive a car normally.
Identical.
Yeah.
That's very, very well tamed.
So awesome. Yeah.
When I called ATF to build this transmission for the first time, I've never owned an automatic, and I just knew I needed a higher stall converter to be able to launch the car. But in my head, I'm thinking, okay, now that I put this full race stall converter, the car's gonna like free rev till 2,000-3,000 RPMs till it engages and then goes. But check this out, Sam. You just come off the brake and the car leaves just like stock.
Just rolling.
No difference.
Yeah, it really is. When you say it's streetable, I mean, that to me is the big part right there.
Right.
Being able to cruise around slowly, comfortably. Just shifted in a second right there.
Did you feel it? You don't feel a thing. Yeah, second and third. The shifts are real smooth. But in all reality, even at the track, the fact that we're not leaving on a trans brake, that's why I'm getting away with so much and can run these 17-inch wheels. We're not shocking the tire from the hit. And then on the gear changes to help the transmission live, we're pulling significant timing on each one of the 2 gear changes. Okay. So again, if it's not leaving crazy hard and we're pulling power between the gear, it's so smooth. You don't feel like a big gear change at the track.
Like a clunk.
I mean, honestly, it feels like you're going 10 seconds down the drag strip, and we went 780 at 180 something miles an hour.
Full run, yeah.
Smooth.
That's pretty cool.
It's awesome.
So talk about the shifting as well, because I think you manually shift this, don't you?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
So anytime I drag race or I'm taking off from 0 speed, right, from a standstill, I always leave it in drive because the computer will shift it perfectly. It shifts at the exact RPM every time. There's no room for error, right? It's perfect every time. But now whenever I roll into it on the street, imagine this. If I was going, call it 40 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour, had it in drive, and I just stabbed it, it's a typical auto car. It's gonna do that.
Blow up the trans.
Right,
yeah.
that real strong downshift will just blow the tire up. It's got 0 chance of hooking the power doing that. It's almost like popping clutch on a manual car. So what I do is I bring it down to whichever gear I need based on the speed we're going. Okay. If necessary, I could brake boost accordingly, just like I would a manual car, nothing different. Yeah. I would brake boost accordingly and then just upshift as the RPMs required.
Just basically comes down to knowing your car well too, you know how to drive it well. So no different than a manual.
Right. So when I race from a rolling start, it's no different than a manual car, just no clutch. But I'm still involved. I'm still shifting the gears on my own.
Exactly. Paying attention to where you're at in the car driving.
And then back from a drag race, we leave it in drive, and it does it perfect every time.
How much power do you have it set to right now?
1400.
1400. Full kill right now.
I don't turn this thing down, Sam.
For how much power this car makes, there's really nothing going on over here.
Nothing. There's no steering wheel with buttons on it.
Boost gauge over here, I think, right?
Right. So here the Supra actually brings like a factory little clock.
Okay.
So I took out the clock and I have to cut nothing, and I popped in a little gauge. And in all reality, the only thing I even use that boost gauge for is whenever I'm brake boosting on the street, let's say to make a pull, I can just look at it briefly, see what boost I'm at, and go from there. I've never touched the exterior. Just recently we did the carbon fiber hatch, because the factory hatch, whoever owns a Supra or is familiar, they rust a little bit at the bottom of the window. Sure. So I was tired of the rusting, so I bought the carbon one, also to save a little bit of weight. But besides for that, the exterior is just how I bought the car 8 years ago. I've never done, aside from wheels and different brakes.
Yeah, I mean, definitely tip of the hat to you, man, for taking such good care of the car, because the paint's in awesome shape. Yeah. Body's in great shape. I mean, you run this thing, you drive this thing around, and it's pretty amazing. You've done a really awesome job with the car.
Since I bought it, I think I've put like 15,000 miles, but I would say, and that's in 8 years, but all 15,000 miles have been balls to the wall. Yes. There's times when the car's down for, let's say, a period of time, 6 months, even a year at times, because I have other life priorities that go on, and the car just sits in the back burner. But even, so during that time, right, as a part, I think to myself, I'm like, man, should I maybe go to more car shows, do things that don't really, like, break up the car, right, tear it apart? Because I see other friends that have Supras in there, they enjoy theirs all throughout the whole year, right? All year long. I just can't do that. Yeah. The second this car runs, I need to race it. I go to a car show and I'm just bored out of my brain.
So let's talk a little bit more about, you were mentioning how you've had this car for 8 years.
Right.
Give me the rundown on the story behind the car, when you purchased it, how much you paid for it, where you got it from.
So I've actually never gotten into that with anyone.
Yeah, that's why I'm very curious to hear this, because 8 years ago,
the market was
market was low, exactly. Yeah. So I'm really interested to see.
Sounds like we're speaking real estate for a second.
Yeah, the market took a hit 8 years ago, you know?
These stupid Japanese cars, man, the prices have gone up so much.
In particularly Supras.
Yeah.
They're the Japanese Ferrari. So
yeah, well said. All right, so when I was on the market for a Supra, I was actually 21 years old, and I saved up as much money as I needed to buy one. Like every other person looking for a Supra, I wanted a 6-speed Supra. Every car I had ever owned prior to this car were all manual cars. I had never driven an automatic, never owned. My very first car was manual. I couldn't even drive it out of the dealership. Yeah. That's how bad, but I just knew. I was like, I want to race cars and I must buy a manual car. So I did so. And I learned to drive in it. I learned to race in it. My first time going to the drag strip in that manual car, I was shaking like a leaf. My feet were shaking. I was so nervous. Not to mention, I was like 16 years old.
I know this very well, my friend. Yeah.
I was racing with a buddy's ID. I was too young to race in the track, so I borrowed an ID. I did all sorts of tricks. But anyhow, when I was in the market for a Supra, I actually saw 2 other manual Supras, and I just wasn't. They were modified. They were beat up. You could tell they were just ran hard. They weren't what I was looking for. I wanted a clean example. I wanted a clean slate where I can build it my way. And then this car comes up in my town. Like, the car goes up for sale on Craigslist in Boynton Beach. My brother-in-law sends me the ad, right? And you ready for this? First impression, I see the pictures. The second I saw the pictures, I'm like, I don't want it. You know why? I had never seen this Supra color ever before. Yeah. So first, I had seen black, white, I had seen all the colors, right? The silvers. As soon as I saw it, I was like, what in the world? Someone painted it that color. I wanted an original car. So as soon as I saw it, I was like, I don't want it. And then I did my research. Turns out Baltic Blue is the original, is the color of the car. So I go to find out. I've never seen it before. There's not that many of them. I saw it was pretty unique. I was like, you know what? Now I really want it. So now all of a sudden I'm seeing past the automatic. I'm like, the hell with the automatic. I'll give it a chance. And true God, I've never considered swapping out the automatic. Not once. The second I bought it, I bought an intercooler for it, and it picked up good. These cars are just crazy, man. Yeah. Like every other car that I've owned, I've done all sorts of bolt-ons, and it's like minimal power gains. You don't feel nothing. This car, you slapped an intercooler on, it must have gained 40, 50 horsepower. It picked up 5 miles an hour in the quarter mile. Then I did a downpipe.
That's wild.
Just a downpipe picked up like another 6 miles an hour because it raises the boost on the stock twins. So every little thing I would touch, I was like, wow, like, this car is awesome. So next thing you know, I went single turbo.
Stock are good for a good amount of power,
I think I pushed it to like 550 or so.
Something like that,
And then the goal was to go 800 plus. So I said, I'm not gonna take a chance, I'm gonna build it. So I jumped on that right away. But I bought it in my town, I bought it for $20,000. It was for sale for $22,000. I showed up, the kid was out of town. He's like, I'm in New York now. I'll be in town on Friday. I'm gonna be at a sports bar watching a UFC fight. I said, I'll meet you at the sports bar. And I showed up, Sam, with $20,000. I think I had like 22, 23, but I knew I wanted to pay 20.
Snaked it.
So I was like, dude, the car looks all right. You know, I'm not a fan of the automatic. Best I can do is 20 grand. And some way, somehow, I gave him the money right there and then, and I drove off with the car. I said, I want it now, though. It's got to be tonight or I'm going to pass.
Oh, so he drove it to the bar that night?
He drove the car to the bar that night. And
he was going to go home with it probably, too. Yeah.
I left him there with the 20 grand without the Supra.
You snaked it,
and
man.
you know
That's
what? I'm actually in communication with him still. I'm actually, on my channel, we're going to do a review of kind of like what he was going through when he had to sell it, why he bought it, that particular night, kind of recap that night some more. But, man, I'll never forget. I was so happy, and here I am 8 years later.
Yeah, that's an unbelievable story, man. Very cool. Very, very cool.
All right, let's pump some E85 and I'll take
we're here at
cool
the gas
destination
station.
I got in mind.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
She was a thirsty girl.
$2.36 a gallon for corn. Can't beat it, man.
Corn is on sale this month.
Oh, I love my summers. Fresh corn.
$2.